Right, and we're going. So, well, first off, thanks everybody again for coming by to this meeting. Um, I love the group we've got going, and also that all of you are interested in going to the summit and have plans for it. Um, and for anybody watching the recording, hopefully you're thinking of going to the summit too. And I know I'm excited because it'll be my first time if I'm able to go and FTC is able to go. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. And I'm thinking the main things we can talk about at this meetup. And usually we just talk about a variety of things or just like catching up with each other. But I'm thinking this time around we can talk especially about the summit and potential plans for it and potential ways that, you know, we can assist each other in going to the summit. And so with that being said, I think we can start off with just like an overview of the summit and maybe some highlights that are going to be in it. And for that, might I put you on the spot, Aaron, if you want to give an intro to the summit, an overview, or any highlights?
Sure. Well, first off, let me just say hello. I'm not sure, I think everybody in the room might know who I am, but just for the record, I'm Erin Galloway. I'm the Director of Membership and Community Relations here at STC. So I'm on staff. So my first and foremost is that if anybody has questions about the summit or STC membership, whatever your experience that you're trying to get information about that you may need more information on, please let me know. I can definitely either help or I can get you in touch with the best contact on STC staff who can assist you. But the STC Summit is our focus for today, and that is our in-person event that's going to be taking place in May 15 through 18 of this year in Rosemont, Illinois, which is right outside of Chicago. And it's going to be our first in-person conference in the 2 years since COVID. We have held summits in those 2 years. They were just virtual components. We are not planning to have a full-fledged virtual program like we have had those past 2 years. So it will be a regularly scheduled in-person event. We're really excited to be back in place. We will be at the, I think, Hyatt Regency Rosemont, I believe that's the hotel. And so there's a lot of them in that area, but it's close to the airport. It's easy to get in and out of, and Chicago's a great city. And we're going to be having a great event. We're planning lots of fun things. So please keep checking back and checking the schedule because more things will be added. And we're also trying to make the event safe. We're trying to make the event fun, and there'll be a lot of updates with we're keeping tabs on the COVID restrictions. We'll be having some things that we'll be putting in place there just so everybody feels safe and comfortable for your meeting experience as well. But the summit is great. If for those, I know a couple of you are planning to come and it's your first event, or maybe it's the first you've been to in a couple of years, and we're so excited to be back in person. The summit is just an event that you can meet, first and foremost, just meet other technical communicators like yourself, to be able to have 3 days worth of education, of networking, because it's great to have these virtual relationships, and we do encourage that throughout the year, but to see somebody face to face, you can't beat it. And a lot of people, it's just going to a summit changes their life in a way of just beginning to build that professional networking outreach that you just have. It's much more effective to do. And I know there are a couple people who are more seasoned in the space who can attest to that. Lots of opportunities that you can plug into. Even I know John will get a little bit more into it later, to volunteer at the summit, to have a different invite to help us put on the summit itself. Kylie Jacobson is our coordinator for our volunteers this year, and so she's here that maybe can answer some questions as well. People have questions about that, just how you can plug in. For those who are students, there's a way that you can come to the event for free, just by sharing some of your time with us, of helping us, be session monitors and different ways to plug in registration help and things like that. But it's just a good place to come and to meet people one-on-one, to have that education in a one-on-one format, to meet those who are in the industry, who are instructors, to meet our exhibitors, those who work alongside the TechCom community, and to meet other students like yourself that are outside of your school. You're outside of your schools are building those networks of people who are just like you, who are just starting on a TechCom and building their career. We have a lot of our volunteers, as I've worked with volunteers my entire time that I've been working at STC, and it's fun to see the relationships just form within the volunteer community that we have at every meeting. If they just meet each other, and those are sometimes relationships that people take with them. Those are the start of those lifelong relationships that you build professionally. So I know we'll cover a lot of stuff, and we'll probably touch back base on different issues as we're going through it. But I recommend just go ahead and looking at our summit pages. I will share the link. The full schedule is there, so take a look at all the sessions that will be taking place. Kind of look now, plan your schedule, what you want to attend. Just get an idea to have what you want to get at your experience. That's one thing that I recommend if you're looking to come. If you're thinking about volunteering, there's an application there. We're accepting those applications through mid-April. We're trying to find spots for people who are wanting to volunteer. I recommend doing that if that works for your schedule, what you're planning to have your experience be. We'd be so glad to see you there, and we love to see you back in person. So I'll turn it back to John, but I'm sure I'll be chiming in a bit later on in the program.
Great, that sounds great, and thanks, Erin. And on that note, I'll screen share a little bit of the Summit website just to visualize some of the things that you talked about. And the website has a lot of information about just what the Summit is and what it offers, but also things like the specific schedule and ways to get involved too, like through volunteering. So it's, for anyone who doesn't know yet, it's summit.stc.org. That brings you to the STC Summit landing page and starts you off with just information about the Summit, which, as I mentioned before, May 15th through 18th in Rosemont, Illinois, Hyatt Regency. And it'll be the in-person event with a lot of different presentations and workshops. And it's opportunities for things like networking, for example, just looking at exhibitions and just hearing from lots of different people in STC, different companies that might be there giving presentations or giving out information, things along that nature. And of course, just contacting. You can just contact those who manage the Summit directly through either this page or, as Erin said, through her, or just let me know too, and I'll do my best to just provide any help with it. But there's a lot of information here and about, and schedule, if you click on this tab, there is currently the schedule of what's going to be offered at the Summit. So throughout that period of time, the 15th through 18th, there are a good number of events happening each of those days. On the 15th are pre-conference workshops, and we can go a little bit into just the specifics of the schedule a little bit later, but these are things that you sign up for ahead of time and just offer a lot of hands-on, interactive and good help. And those will be throughout the first day of the Summit. And the rest of the days have a lot of different presentations and workshops. You can scroll by and just see a lot of different ones to choose from. And the 16th has some, the 17th has some, and the last day, the 18th, has some as well. And so leading up to the Summit, there's already a great resource here of seeing what workshops you might want to go to, or just which ones pique your interest. And particularly if you want to sign up for anything ahead of time or just look into anything ahead of time, the schedule has a lot of that information already there. And on top of that, well, thank you for the links in the chat, Erin. Volunteering info. I can click on this and talk about volunteering. Shout out to UCF. I always love how this picture is here. But I wanted to see, Kylie, if you may be interested in talking about volunteering and the benefits it can bring.
Yes, absolutely. I was just about to share in the chat. Oh, it appeared there. The website for you to register to be a volunteer. If you haven't been to Summit before as a student volunteer, it is an excellent opportunity to go for, a free registration. And of course, the Summit cannot happen without student volunteers to make sure that we can check in people when they register on the day of, or check in for their day, or set up for events like the award ceremony or things like that, or even monitor the rooms. And so those are the primary areas where our student volunteers fill in. Apart from being able to go to Summit for free, it's also a wonderful opportunity for networking. So if you're going to be on the job market anytime soon, it's an excellent place to rub elbows a little bit, or at least get your name out there. Bring your business cards, your virtual business cards, to exchange with people, because you're going to be in the mix with all of these other professionals who are also going to be scouting while they're there. Plus, you'll have plenty of time to attend the sessions yourself. So if there's anything that you're really interested in attending, we can work around your volunteer schedule to make sure that you go to those sessions, as well as if you're presenting, we'll definitely keep that in mind. So I wanted to make a plug for that as I am coordinating the volunteers this year. We will have a orientation late April. So this is nothing that you will have to know or learn on the spot. We will definitely talk about it before you get to the event. But if you scroll down part way on the page, you'll see that there is a PDF form of, well, it's a link, but it links you to a PDF of the different requirements for the job. So if you wanted to check those out ahead of time and see that is, if it's a doable thing for you, or if there's certain dates that you'd like to attend, which types of roles would be most useful during your time there. Because certainly you don't need to be there for the full summit. You could pop in for a day or two and we can use your time then. So you can check those out, but of course we'll cover them a little bit more at the orientation. So I just wanted to pop in and show my face and let you know that it's not like a really intimidating job, and we would so gladly appreciate your help if you wanted a free registration to Summit.
All right, I appreciate it, Kylie, and thank you for sharing that information about just volunteering. And as she said too, she's your resource and go-to for student volunteering this time around, which is very exciting. So that's really great to hear. And yes, there's the student volunteer page also here on the Summit website with things like the positions, requirements, and just examples of things you can volunteer in. And then there's the really brief sign up here at the bottom where you just put in, if you want to be a student volunteer, you put in your info, just general info, your availability, and any kind of comments that you may want to leave too. And the Summit is, as Kylie said, just always welcoming volunteers to help run the event. It's going to be a big event. So definitely put your name in there if you may be interested. And on top of that, when it comes to just becoming a volunteer, one of the big benefits is free registration for student volunteers. And students usually have a registration fee of $250 to just attend the event. But if you're a student volunteer, then that's cost is eliminated since you'll be helping out during that time. And that is a big help, especially if you're going as a group. And when I was talking with some members from FTC yesterday, it came to perspective of just how much it can be if you're going as a group. Say you have a group of a handful, even like 4 people going. If everyone volunteers, and that's $1,000 of registration. If you have a group of 8 people, that's $2,000 of registration. Like if you volunteer, it really just is a benefit to the Summit and to yourself too, just not having to pay that cost. So it's especially good consideration if you're going in as a group or as a pair or something like along those lines, or even if you just want to help out and receive that benefit. So volunteering is a definite plus and a good way to just manage those, just help manage the Summit and help benefit your own registration cost as well. And yep, and in the chat, Kylie just dropped her email. So yep, feel free to contact her at jacokYli@gvsu.edu. And if you do that, yeah, she is your resource, your go-to. So be happy to send her an email. But we can loop back around to the General Summit and volunteering. Now that we've done a brief overview of both, I think we can loop back a little later. I wanted to give space to Anne-Marie if you wanted to talk about the specific programs the CAC may be running during the Summit.
Okay, thank you, John. And yeah, I echo what John and Kylie have said. It's, if you're thinking about volunteering as a student, it really is a great opportunity. And I know Megalee and Tishan are going to be presenting, so they're gonna be busy. But yeah, it really is a good experience. And so I just want to quickly tell you about what the CAC is doing. And for those of you, I know Zach is relatively new to STC, so all these initials and acronyms, I better define some. CAC is the Community Affairs Committee. I'm the chair of the committee, and what we do is we support communities, and we're going to have a really active presence at the Summit because, like everyone else, we're just thrilled too that we're finally going to be in person. And John is our CAC member, our CAC director also, and Kylie is a CAC director and member, and Aaron is our STC liaison. So briefly, some of the things that you'll see the community affairs or the CAC involved with, the first evening, the opening session, there's something called special interest groups, and they're virtual groups. So we have our geographic chapters and we have the student chapters, which are physical and virtual. And the special interest groups are just completely virtual, except for the summit where they get to meet people. And they're focused on topics like technical editing, policies and procedures, women in tech comm, instructional design and learning. And what they do is they have, if you're interested in these topics, they'll have an open house or table during the opening evening, which is a lot of fun. It'll be in the expo hall, and there'll be hors d'oeuvres, and hopefully, Aaron, I'm saying this right because I know there's COVID restrictions, but traditionally there are really some good munchies and hors d'oeuvres and all types of things. And there was a cash bar for those above age. I don't know what the age is in Illinois. And then the special interest groups they have tables. And so you can meet them, and you can again meet leaders, and they'll tell you what their group is all about. And so that's one thing the CAC will be assisting with. We'll have a table. And another thing that we're doing quickly is that looking at my schedule to make sure I get this the right time, we're going to be having a leadership information exchange session. And that is just going to be all the leaders, managers, volunteers, or people interested. You don't have to be a leader right now or a volunteer. This is for students, professional chapters, and special interest groups. And we're going to meet on Monday, May 16th from 4:30 to 5:15. And we're just going to be doing more of an educational, the topics we're working on right now. And so we welcome you definitely for that. If you want to know, hey, what is a professional chapter all about? I'm in a student chapter now, and I may be graduating in a year or two, and maybe I'd like to segue into the Florida chapter or the Michigan Great Lakes chapter, Kylie. What's that all about? It's a great chance to meet people, ask questions. And then because it's special that this is the first time we're meeting in 2 years, the CAC is trying something new, and we're going to have a treasure hunt, because our incentive theme this year is the STC Deep Sea Adventure, which Kylie gave us the idea for. And yes, and what that is, if you're interested, it's on our CAC website and anyone can join. And we give out virtual badges. So when you're involved with different activities, like you're attending one of John's meetups, you get points for that. We give virtual badges, and then we also have drawings for special prizes. We're going to be giving away a book in March from one of our leaders in TechCom, Jack Molisani. So definitely join. It's free if you're an STC member, and you can join that. So we're going to tie into that, because I say the treasure, really, the STC treasure, are our leaders, volunteers, and members. So that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to be doing a treasure hunt. You're going to do it on your own. You'll have 24 hours. And it's going to kind of like a bingo card activity, but you're going to have to find certain things that we're going to ask you for. And then the last CAC event is for the social. We're going to do a social networking event. So one of our members said, this is like the 7th inning stretch in a ball game. And I thought that was a great way to describe it, because it's going to be on Tuesday, May 17th, 4:30 to 5:15. And as you know, that's the second complete day of the summit. So everybody's going to want to relax a little. And so we're going to have some fun stuff to do that. It's very informal. Drop in if you have time. We'd love to see you. And that's when you're going to hand in your bingo cards, and we're going to have some prizes. We have some very talented members that are donating photographs, books, some original artwork. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And that time that day, on Tuesday at about, I think, 5:30 is going to be the honors program. And that you'll see the people who are becoming associate fellows, STC fellows. And so that's another great thing to be involved with. So the CAC will be there, and we hope to see you too. And I know that I need to leave early for the meeting, but I look forward to seeing everyone. And I just want to give 2 tips, if I may. And then I know you're going to open this up, but for those who are first time attendees, sometimes people don't realize this, but if you attend one of the sessions, like John showed you the full schedule, and let's say you're there and it's not really what you thought it was going to be, or you decide to go somewhere else, you have full permission to leave. It's not insulting to anyone, right? And I think Aaron and Kylie, who've been to several summits, know this also. In fact, you'll probably be told that, but I just want to reinforce it because, right now you're in a university environment, right? And you wouldn't go into a class and say, well, I'm really not interested today in this topic. I think I'm going to leave. I don't think Kylie, who is a professor, would enjoy that. But
have I seen it?
Have you seen it? Yes, that's another
Has
point.
it happened?
Yeah. Is it appropriate in the university setting? No. Is it appropriate in the summit? Absolutely. Because you might be sitting there going, oh, wow, this is perhaps not really what I wanted, but I don't want to be rude. I don't want to, just stand up and leave. You do that. You can do that. So that is something just to keep in mind. Another thing I would just give you a tip for is that everyone is very welcoming, and sometimes it could be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of people, but everyone is willing to talk and share. And I don't know, Aaron, I'm assuming we're going to have our lanyards this year with all the badges like we've had in the past. Okay, here's a tip. It's a great conversation icebreaker because you can go and you can pick up all kinds of ribbons that can go on the lanyard, like first time attendee, student leader. I think there's one student. I know there's leaders, volunteers, all presenter. So Megali and Tisha, you'll have a ribbon that will say you're a presenter. And it's a great way to go up to somebody. Or you'll see the badge and you say, oh, you're from Florida, you're from Michigan. These are just some great, if you're looking for some icebreakers and a way to just, start a conversation with someone. So with that, I'm going to turn this over back to John. And we hope to see you at the summit.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. I'm glad you could join in and talk about all the exciting things happening with the CAC at the summit. And hopefully everybody's able to tune into them too once they're there. So yeah, thanks again, Anne-Marie. All right, so I will be opening up the floor for just general discussion or questions or anything along those lines. So when it comes to going to the summit or just preparing to go to the summit, where are each of you currently, or do you have any questions about going about that process or what to expect?
And there's no such thing as a bad question. People are
I
on
guess
the fence.
I don't really have a question, but yeah, this is, I think, the first national conference that I will be attending face-to-face since I started the PhD program. I attended a regional conference in like my first or second month here. That was pre-pandemic. And so everything has been virtual for 2.5 years. I guess I'm just like trying to figure out how many days, and I'm thinking in terms of like funding and things like that, like how many days would you recommend attending this conference is if like our conference is at a particular date, and like, is there any event besides the program, like the presentations, is there any event that you really, really recommend attending that I should consider as I plan my itinerary and my, travel plans?
Well, for me, the way in my past experience with conferences is to really, I mean, of course, the opening reception is great. The honors reception is great. That just shows, just some of the recognition that we have for, the different types of members that we have everywhere, from the student honorees all the way up to those who have more seasoned time with us, our highest awards, our fellows and our associate fellows. So it's just an interesting event that just shows a scope of our membership that we don't usually experience. It's just a different level that's shown at the summit. There, just to let you know, there are a couple of components that used to be always at the summit, but are remaining virtual. One being the annual business meeting that actually is all about STC's just business, which I recommend if you're members to go ahead and attend. So I just let you know what actually our members are thinking. You can meet the board, things like that. That'll happen in late April. And then also our leadership program, which Anne-Marie, the CAC, runs, and that goes through, well, we have some programming and also some CAC awards, all the awards in our communities that will take place after the meeting in June. So those used to be a part of the summit itself, but they are now virtual events that will remain virtual components. But that's a part of the entire experience. But what I would recommend that you really do, I mean, our content or education is the most, I feel, is what you're going to want to get the most out of. So I would recommend, if you only have maybe, I mean, there's something to benefit you every single day. But I would really recommend seeing what types of classes, what type of the sessions that you're looking for are most beneficial to you, and what you're kind of wanting to get out of it. Of course, there's going to be probably more sessions than you can ever want to want to attend. But to have a day with the most components that speak the most to what the experience you want to get out of the meeting and education wise, would be a benchmark for me. And that's a personal decision based off of you, and also what Anne-Marie said, to have a plan 1 and a plan 2, just in case one session isn't exactly what you're looking for, or you're wanting to maybe catch half of one and half the other, so you can kind of get some information on both of you, especially our on borrowed time. If that's what you can do. Of course, the networking events, there'll always be opportunities as we have opening events for like the expo throughout every day. So you'll be able to have that experience, be able to see the floor. But our 2 major networking events that happen on that Sunday night and then on the Tuesday, they're great for you to attend, but it's certainly up to you to decide if that's, the most important thing about your meeting experience. It's just a bonus for networking. So I would say look at your education content. And if you still have questions afterward, you're not on the fence and you wanted to talk it through, you could always contact me or Elaine, who is our director of meetings. And so we can talk through, maybe help you if that's something that you're looking for, if you're looking for information about a particular event and what you want your experience to be. But that's would be my gut, would be to really look at the content of each day to see what would speak most to you, so you get the most out of your time.
Thanks.
Sure.
I could add from the student volunteer perspective, the pre-conference stuff that happens on that Sunday is not included as part of your free registration. So if you're also trying to manage like what you're getting funding for, maybe Sunday is not a day you need to be there.
Or there may be sometimes we've also had people who they can't say they can't get off work, or they're in school and they can't take time off, and they just come for that. Like, they just don't register for the event, they register just for those pre-cons. You can do that too, the pre-conference workshops. Those are half day or full day events about a specific topic. Of course, you're paying for that specific topic, so you'll be in only 1 or 2 things max per day, but that is an option. So some people do come for just those. But that, again, is part of the whole meeting experience of what you want it to be.
All right, thank you both for the
maybe-
tips.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right.
Yeah, just to be clear, the conference, the summit will be in the Hyatt Regency Hotel, right?
Yes, everything will be in the hotel itself. So there will be no need to, we'll have different areas. So, but it'll be all in one area, all in one space. So yeah, there'll be no needing to travel anywhere else. Once you're there, you're there. You can see no sunshine for days if you choose. which happens for a lot of us.
Okay, I'm sorry, this might seem like a really silly questions, but again, I'm just planning stuff now. Besides the main events, do you know if there are any like snacks or beverages at least during that time, or should we start planning like food expenses during that time? And I'm sorry if it's like such a stupid question.
No, it's completely fair. We're still working on our food and beverage because we're still working among the, so in the past, we've had different types of spreads because it's pre-COVID, there were different rules. And now there are just different ways that we have to manage that because of packaging and thing, what's available. So this, similar options may not be available. So we're trying to be flexible, but still trying to do what we can. The honors event typically has food and the honors are in, but again, there's sometimes heavy hors d'oeuvres, which may or may not be to your liking as well. So I would always recommend having a plan B. We do have water stations, we do have coffee breaks and things like that, but even for myself, I always I always throw a couple granola bars in my bag, have water on me just to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, because you don't know what will be offered and how frequently or what you will personally need. But things like breakfast, lunch and things, those are not provided by us. So you should plan definitely for those meals. The honors event does have food. So I'd recommend if you're planning that, take that into consideration. So a lot of times people forget that that's there and it's like, free food. Come and see something cool. You have nothing to do. Just watch a good honors awards show. And a good keynote. But no, food is very important. So I mean, me personally, if you've never been to a conference, I always just, even if I'm just going to, landing in my hotel and then going to the local CVS or something and just grabbing a couple snacks and just having it in my room, just so I know I have some things to take care of me. It's always a good idea.
I have another question.
Sure.
About the attire that we will need.
Mm-hmm.
Is it business professional or just?
No, it's you don't have to worry about coming in suits and ties or suit, nothing like that. Usually people you'll see a variety of different things. Usually people wear just business casual, nice pair of, nice bottom, nice shirt, just something presentable, something you would wear if you were just going out to dinner somewhere nice or something like that. That's usually what people consider. You'll see people in dresses. You'll see sometimes people in suits, and that's okay. Certainly if you're presenting, you may consider that in a different aspect for the day that you're presenting. You might want to wear something else, but definitely dress for comfort. Make sure that's key. First and foremost, comfy shoes, so you're not, dying a couple of hours in with pinching toes. Definitely wear layers because hotels, they can vary in rooms of temperature control. So just make sure that you're comfortable in that way too. And it will be May, but you never know with weather what will happen. So whether there'll be heat or air conditioning, we've been surprised. So like I mentioned, we had a meeting yesterday. We were in Denver and it was in June and it snowed. So it was 70 degrees one day and the next day it snowed. So we were just, so check your local forecast, just make sure you have things with you. Especially if you're planning to go out, just make sure also that you also have some options there, the stuff that you plan if you travel, anyway, but it's not, but you're not required to have business attire. If you're volunteering, there's no difference in what you would wear. I would just say, be presentable and dress comfortably. So just what you would feel comfortable presenting your best self in. But be you. Be you. That's the most important thing too.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a day that headshots are being taken to, or there's an option for that?
There are typically headshots. I'm not sure. I haven't received all the details on that, but that'll be on the website. So if you do see that option, there will be a sign-up sheet for that, so you can get a professional headshot taken, and we do sometimes offer that. John doesn't. I haven't confirmed this with John yet, but we will also have an option we've received that we will also have the opportunity for people to give testimonials at the summit, just about their summit experience or about STC. So if you wanted to do that, you can be filmed and be a part of some of our social media in the future. So we would always appreciate a kind word from our members.
I was just thinking, if you wanted to bring a neutral shirt or something, if you thought you would go get a headshot at Summit.
Yeah, if you wanted to take advantage of that professional headshot, and you could definitely do that and take that in mind too, of course. And for video, depending on how you want to present yourself. I'm not sure of that yet. I haven't, but we'll be announcing it when it's ready. So you'll see.
I guess one topic I'll bring up too is receiving funding, since I know FTC is working on it on our side, like getting university funding, and I know for STC student chapters, that's another process. And for anyone who may be watching the recording after this may benefit from hearing both sides. I guess first and foremost, I wanted to ask, since I've been working with the FTC, I don't have too much information on STC student chapter funding for conferences in the summit yet. I wanted to ask if anybody here might be able to give information on that, on how a student chapter may be able to support themselves going to the summit.
For a student, well, for STC, for a student chapter, that's typically something that you would budget in your budget itself. You would plan out your year, and a certain amount of your funding could be towards that. And some of our chapters do that. In our student chapters do that. They have enough for either sending one or a couple people, either fully expense it or just to offset cost. So that's something that they budget for with the STC student chapter or professional chapter.
Okay, sounds great. And how I see in the chat, no, what is it if we don't talk about about food? That's important. I was wondering myself
Food
a
is
little bit
important.
too. I know there's someone who may be watching later, like, I was thinking about food too.
No, those your meeting experience and self-care is so important in a conference, because that could be the thing that tanks your experience if you're uncomfortable or you're starving or you don't know what to do. Those are all definite things that to consider as you're just trying to navigate an event.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know that I've had like the best time going somewhere for the first half, only to have the worst time the second half because I realized I didn't have any food on me. And the nearest place is somewhere far away. So,
yep, absolutely.
very important to plan. And same with like just water or drinks or anything like that. Especially if you're going to be talking to a lot of people. Very, very, very important to know where those are, so you're not 2 hours in and then you lost your voice and you're like, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now.
No,
I swear I want to, but I would dry up.
No, sometimes the best thing to do is at least for me, whenever I show up at a conference, because I run them and also I help run them, but also I've gone to some. It's like I go and I just get a lay of the land. I just walk the space before I have to go anywhere, know where the restrooms are, know where the easiest elevator is. I scope all that out because those all matter during the event itself. Figure out the hours of, the Starbucks in the lobby, things like that. So those things are vital.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just wanted to add something real quick. Like I said, I have a meeting that's just about to start, so I have to leave. But again, thanks for all the information, and I hope I'll get to see at least some of you at the conference, Bojeshan and I. Erin, I just wanted to add a quick note. There have been some problems with our roster at Texas Tech. Some of our names are missing. So I think I sent you an email, but like it might have got lost. But if you can just see if, because like even my name is not there and I'm the chapter president and I don't know what happened because my dues are all paid. So I'm like, oh no, like where am I in the roster? So I just, maybe you can just see like what's going on because my dues are definitely paid, I checked. And so just maybe, follow up with that.
Of course, yeah, we can definitely touch base about your roster. And for the sake of the recording, if anybody has problems with the rosters, please contact me 100%. We'll figure it out.
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll be in touch.
Bye, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Megali. Thanks. All right. Well, I guess we can loop back to talking about funding too. So, Erin, you said when it comes to student chapters, some may have that factored into their budget. And I'd also say if you're looking for just funding it, fundraisers can always help. There's still a good few months until then, and I know some chapters have run successful fundraisers or just funding events or just things along that nature. Yeah, it's always worth it to reach out ahead and see what your group can put together to help offset the cost. So that's one. And away from STC student chapters, if you're part of a university club, this kind of looping back into me too, like at UCF, the Future Technical Communicators Club. So if you're just an organization affiliated with the university, not attached to STC, there's often, it may vary for each university, but there tend to be ways to receive funding from the university just as a perk of being an official club affiliated with them. And I know in my case, and hopefully it may apply to others too, is that FTC, as a registered student organization, we're able to submit a form to our student government. And the overview of the process is that once we've confirmed that we're an official club, we just make sure that all our paperwork is in and things like that. Usually that's at the beginning of the school year, already taken care of. Once we do that, we just assemble a roster of our members who want to go, assemble how much everything will cost, and then present that to the student government. And in doing so, they see just a tally of the members, their information, how much things will cost, and the total, and see how much they can fund from it. And in UCF's case, there are usually deadlines associated with that too. So if you're part of just a student group, be sure to check in on that. I know for UCF, our deadline for putting in that initial application of finalized members, finalized costs, and things like that is in the middle of March, I believe on the 14th. Just to get specific on things that we're doing. And that's just to make sure that we know the details of everything that we'd be going on that trip with, just the size of the group and where we'd go, all of that. And then after that, if we submit the application and we're approved, then they give us funding for the things that we need, possibly up to a cap and possibly full funding. And just by the nature of STC Summit being a national conference and just pushing forward the field of TechCom, oftentimes the university will be supporting of that and see how much they can help, just in whatever capacity they can, because it is advancing education. So if you're part of a student group and an FTC included, that's a good route to take, because definitely, take everything you can from your university. One, just because they're a resource, and two, because just it's likely that they'll want to help you and your club out. So that's one way of going about it, and it's what FTC is trying to do now. I know on our side, we're trying to assemble a final list of members within the next week or so, just to confirm who is able to go, because it might cause, well, it definitely would cause some hiccups if you put a list of members to the student government, they give you all this money, and then a few of the people or half the people or something like that can't go. And then, well, what do I do with all this university money? They're going to find a way to take it back through some mean or another. So yeah, around now is a good time to finalize things and make sure if you're going, who you're going to be going with. And for FTC, we're doing that in the next week or two, just making that final and pursuing funding that way. But that's just a little briefing on it. And yeah, just wanted to do that for anybody who may be in a student group. Yeah.
No,
I was wondering if anybody had any questions about that too. I'll leave it open.
It's good to pursue those avenues. Better to always ask and have them say no than not ask and not know.
Absolutely.
Or just sow a seed to see what maybe can be developed for the following year. Maybe they're not planning on it this year, but that's also something that you can establish yourself to have something for the future.
True. Yeah, just having that connection be made, having it be mentioned. If by any chance not now, then it puts your name in for later. So
exactly,
definitely worth it.
As somebody who had gone as a student before, I also mentioned that you might be looking into like Airbnbs as a cheaper alternative to staying at the hotel for a few nights. And if you do that, I want to caution you against, or like maybe check it out, because some universities cannot refund Airbnb fees. That's like a state law. So you might just want to check that out with your office manager or something before you make those reservations. And maybe just find a different hotel if that's something you're thinking about for your price.
That is
Might
a
have
great
done that
tip.
myself.
That is a great tip
And I'm
because
just
that's
gonna
something I was
pretend that
considering.
I didn't hear one thing.
Well, yeah, I know. I went to Texas Tech. I know specifically you get like $300, and that's barely a plane ticket. So when you're looking at where to stay for a few nights, sometimes you won't get that money for that ticket. So be sure you're looking at where you're making your reservations.
That sounds great, and it does definitely add up. I know, especially since for FTC we're having a good amount of students thinking of going. We're thinking, will we need possibly 2 rooms, 3 rooms? I cannot do more because hotels in hotel and Illinois a lot over a few nights too. So always good to check out alternatives. That's something that was on the back of my mind too. So thank you for sharing that, Kylie.
Yeah, if you go in a group, I was checking the hotel, and if you put 4 people, it's still $199. That's an option. So $50 per person is not bad. But if you're just going one, that might be a little steep.
Yeah, the hotel rates aren't too bad for the conference at all. $199 per night, and then it's access to just being in the hotel, being around everything. And if you're staying, say, 3 nights overnight, that is something that could be divided up amongst a group, especially if multiple people can be in the same room. So it's a good reasonable rate, and splitting it up is a great way to take care of it too.
And one thing that we also, I mean, we want people to stay in the host hotel, but we realize not everybody can afford to do that. But one thing that you do want to do it is you're crunching numbers, is if you're choosing to stay outside the block, to make sure that it's within walking distance, that it's safe, because those fees will add up if you're having to take Ubers or, cabs or even subway, those types of things. Because sometimes you can find something cheaper a little bit farther out, but then you're having to pay transportation costs to and from. We've encountered that before from folks that they didn't anticipate. So, or, they might not feel comfortable walking a certain amount of distance. They feel comfortable in the morning, but not in the afternoons and things like that. So something to consider.
Yeah, it would not be a good experience just finding a place that's half an hour away walking.
It is happened
like
because sometimes you don't, sometimes that's, you're looking for a rate and it's like fitting into a window and then you don't realize that it's a little bit farther out and you thought, or it's not, or it seems close, but it's not really walkable, things like that. So just think about those costs too, because those will get you too.
Yeah, definitely consider walkability. And yeah, sometimes that outweighs the cost. It's just, do I want to walk all that distance, or do I want to bite the bullet? Especially after a day of talking to people and walking around the conference anyways. So yeah, good considerations. All right, so I guess anybody with any last questions about the summit, either general or specific? Okay, I think we covered a lot of great things today. And of course, offline, we can always message each other about anything specific. Kylie is your person to go to for student volunteering. Aaron for all things membership and the summit. And thanks for dropping your email in the chat. And me too. I'm happy to reroute anything to either of them, or Anne Marie too for the CAC. Just any of us, and we can loop things around to whoever you need to. And yeah, and when it comes to anything else, yeah, feel free to send a message or drop a message in the Slack chat, or even if you just want to meet up offline for just a general discussion or side chat or anything else, I'm happy to do that too. So we're always available as a resource, and I'm just really glad we could have this discussion. Had a lot of great questions and a lot of good consideration being made. So the summit is just how many months away now? Just 3 months away, huh? It's coming up very quickly.
Almost into the single digit weeks. Yeah, it's coming up close.
Yeah, very close. So 3 months away until the conference, and a lot of fun, and yeah, a good amount of us meeting each other too, at least face to face, and having that experience. So I'm very excited for that, especially for those whose first time it'll be included. So just last call for any comments or questions, and if not, I guess we can close things off for today.
We
Okay,
hope
I
to
think
see
we're
you
good.
in Chicago.
Yeah, excited to see you in Chicago and hope to see you then. And excited to just be going through this process with you all. And yeah, thank you all for coming. Looking forward to when we see you next. Bye, everybody. Good night.